Hello chess lovers. Welcome back to the Knight Gambit TV. This video is best episode in 2026. Today we are looking at two different chess traps. Let's go to the first trap, a very short but brilliant opening trap from the Blackmar-Demer Gambit, reversed Albin counter gambit. This game was played between Mestrovic and Masic in 1968. The game lasted only 6 moves, but it contains a powerful tactical idea that punishes greedy play. Let's break down every move step by step. Move 1. White plays 1. d4. White advances the d-pawn 2 squares and immediately claims space in the center. This move opens lines for the light-squared bishop and the queen. Black responds with 1. d5. Black mirrors White's idea by advancing the d-pawn and fighting for central control. Move 2. White plays 2. Knight c3. The knight from b1 develops to c3. This supports the central d5 and e4 squares and prepares aggressive opening possibilities. Black responds with 2. c5. The c-pawn advances to c5, challenging White's center immediately. Black wants active counterplay rather than a quiet position. Move 3. White plays 3. e4. The e-pawn advances 2 squares. White now builds a strong pawn center with pawns on d4 and e4. This move also offers a gambit pawn and invites complications. Black responds with 3. d takes e4. Black accepts the challenge. The d-pawn captures the e4 pawn, gaining a pawn but opening tactical possibilities for White. Move 4. White plays 4. Bishop f4. The light-squared bishop from c1 develops to f4. This is a very important move. The bishop attacks the d6, h2 diagonal, and puts pressure on the center. More importantly, White is setting a trap. Black responds with 4. Queen takes d4. Black's queen from d8 captures the pawn on d4. At first glance, this looks great for Black because the queen wins a second pawn. However, the queen has wandered far from safety and is about to get into trouble. Move 5. White plays 5. Knight d5. The knight from c3 jumps to d5. This is the key tactical move of the game. The knight attacks the black queen on d4 and also controls important central squares. Suddenly, Black realizes that the queen's position is uncomfortable. Black responds with 5. Queen takes d1 check. Black tries to simplify the position. The queen from d4 captures the white queen on d1 and gives check. This looks like a clever escape. Black hopes that exchanging queens will solve all the problems. Move 6. White plays 6. Rook takes d1. The rook from a1 captures the black queen on d1. Now let's look at the final position. White has developed the knight and bishop, while Black's pieces are still sitting on their original squares. More importantly, the knight on d5 attacks the c7 square. Black cannot stop the devastating threat of knight c7 check, which would fork the king on e8 and the rook on a8. White will win major material and obtain a completely winning position. Black's development is poor, the king is stuck in the center, and White's active pieces dominate the board. Seeing that the coming knight fork cannot be prevented effectively, Black resigned immediately. Conclusion: this game teaches an important opening lesson. Never grab pawns with your queen without checking for tactical tricks. Black won 2 pawns, but the queen became exposed. White gained development, and the powerful knight to d5 tactic decided the game instantly. A 6-move masterpiece from Mestrovic. If you enjoyed this opening trap, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Knight Gambit TV for more deadly chess traps, gambits, and move-by-move chess lessons. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello chess lovers. Welcome back to the Knight Gambit TV. This is second episode for 2026 Amazing Chess Trap. Today we are looking at a very short but powerful opening trap from the St. George defense. This game was played between Makowiak and Cusack in 1980. The game lasted only 5 moves, but it perfectly demonstrates how dangerous poor opening development can be. Let's break down every move step by step. Move 1. White plays 1. e4. The white king's pawn advances 2 squares to e4. This move immediately controls the important central squares d5 and f5. White also opens lines for the white dark-squared bishop and white queen. Black responds with 1. a6. The black a-pawn moves from a7 to a6. This is the beginning of the St. George defense. Instead of fighting for the center immediately, Black prepares to expand on the queen side with the b-pawn. Move 2. White plays 2. d4. The white queen's pawn advances to d4. White now occupies the center with 2 pawns. This creates a strong central presence and gives white more space for development. Black responds with 2. b5. The black b-pawn moves from b7 to b5. Black follows the St. George defense idea by gaining queenside space. However, Black is still neglecting central control and piece development. Move 3. White plays 3. c4. The white c-pawn advances from c2 to c4. This move strengthens White's central influence and challenges Black's queenside expansion. White is playing actively and opening lines for development. Black responds with 3. b takes c4. The black b-pawn captures the white c-pawn on c4. Black wins a pawn temporarily. At first glance this looks good, but it allows White's pieces to become active. Move 4. White plays 4. Bishop takes c4. The white light-squared bishop moves from f1 to c4 and captures the pawn on c4. The bishop is now beautifully developed on an active diagonal pointing toward the vulnerable f7 square, one of the weakest points in Black's position during the opening. White has recovered the pawn and improved piece activity at the same time. Black responds with 4. Bishop b7. The black dark-squared bishop develops from c8 to b7. This bishop is now placed on the long diagonal. While this looks like a natural developing move, Black still has a major problem. The king remains unprotected and key tactical weaknesses have appeared. Move 5. White plays 5. Queen b3. The white queen moves from d1 to b3. This is the winning move and the reason Black resigned immediately. The queen creates a powerful double attack. First, the white queen on b3 attacks the black pawn on f7. Second, the queen also attacks the black rook on b8 along the b-file. The critical issue is that Black cannot defend both threats effectively. The f7 square is especially dangerous because it is protected only by the black king. If White captures on f7, a devastating attack follows with check. Meanwhile, the rook on b8 is also hanging. Black's position is already strategically and tactically lost. White's pieces are active, Black's king is unsafe, and Black has fallen far behind in development. Realizing that there is no satisfactory defense, Black resigned immediately. Lesson from this trap. The biggest lesson from this game is, do not ignore central control. Develop your pieces quickly. Be careful when grabbing pawns in the opening. Watch for tactical attacks on the f7 square. Always check for queen and bishop combinations before making developing moves. In only 5 moves, White punished Black's slow opening play and created unstoppable threats. If you enjoyed this classic opening trap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for the Knight Gambit TV. See you in the next chess trap video. Thank you so much. God bless everyone. Bye.